Hi guys, welcome to Zen Talks. I am Sakina Parmal, founder and chief facilitator at Urban Zen. You are what you eat. It's a saying we all have heard, right? I mean, who does not resort to comfort foods like ice cream when you're having a bad day? I know I do, but does it really make you feel good? Does food impact our behavior? This is something we will talk about with our special guest, Amita Mishra, who's a celebrity nutritionist. She has been awarded as the iconic nutritionist in Mumbai. And if food, nutrition is something that you have been thinking about during this lockdown, don't go anywhere because this conversation is going to be super insightful for you. And therefore, I'll welcome Amita online now.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for such a warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Amita, for being here and joining Zen Talks.
It's my pleasure.
Great. So apparently, Amita and we have a lot of friends in common, and the incredible work that Amita has been doing. Like recently, she started an initiative where she's helping Corona warriors by giving them, diets for boosting their immunity, and that's such a wonderful thing that you're doing, Amita.
Thank you so much.
Great. So, Amita, as you know that today what we're talking about is how food impacts our behavior.
Hmm.
So, tell us what is the role of food and well-being?
To sum this up, it's actually the most important thing in your life because, like, there's a saying which says "Annam Brahmanam." So your food is basically what forms the universe. What you feed in is what your body is actually made up of. So a lot of these youngsters who constantly complain of being irritated, they are very sensitive, depression, because you're eating food which is basically dead in nature. You know, all these processed and packaged. But when you switch that, try doing this for your own self. One day, if you start eating very live foods, when I say live foods, matlab wo food which you sow and it grows. Like when you sow a wheat plant will grow. When you sow an apple will grow. So this has the quality of giving you life. So that's how important food is because it has the quality to give you life and everything else is connected. If you've had a good meal, the world is a better place. But sab kuch hai, like a lot of my rich, if I talk about, they have everything, all privileges of the world, but still they feel empty, you know, while going to bed at night because they don't feel satisfied. One of my clients, when she started, she's like, "Can I just have moong dal halwa once a week?" And I'm like, "Of course, why not? You can." That's the kind of deprivation that they are following, and that's how it affects your well-being. You're constantly thinking about food. It's what you eat is what you are going to grow, so that your life is basically which comes from your food.
That's excellent. So, what you're saying is packaged foods are terrible for you because they don't really have life and they don't therefore give you life.
Hmm. And
Fantastic.
so, Sakina, this I feel in this entire period of lockdown, the only industry which is not affected, एक है health or एक है instant food. Any shop you go, you won't find Maggie, you won't find cheese, you won't find ketchups because we've just consumed it all. So unka market is high. And then if you go on the social media, you'll see people complaining that my weight is gaining. I saw that post April, May, and June.
Yeah.
Your weight increasing, of course, because you see, no, there's a direct correlation of what we are doing.
Absolutely. So, I mean, Amita, right now, as you rightly said, during the lockdown, a lot of people are affected in a lot of ways because, we are all confined to a certain space and therefore also stressed out. So, tell me, what kind of foods are a strict no no for people who are coping with stress, anxiety, and other challenges?
So for stress and anxiety, first and foremost, of course, anything which is dead is going to make you feel dead within. So you are going to get more irritated and cranky and not sleep well if you are consuming a lot of packaged food. So packaged process, which also have additives and colors, is a strict no-no. Otherwise, also caffeine. and high processed sugar. I'm not talking about the sugar which comes in your sharbat or achar naturally, not that sugar, but the sugar, jiska source you don't know, like the ones coming from kids and packaged foods and jams. That's a strict no-no. Caffeine is a strict no-no, and all your processed and packaged is a strict no-no, especially when you are stressed. And there's so much. This is, just three or four.
Yeah.
A lot of you who must be listening, you'll be like, "Sab to bol diya, ab khaye kya?"
That's true. I'm just thinking of that in my head right
It's
now.
just three or four, but when you see this category of what all can you eat when you are stressed, you can definitely relish your halwa, you can relish your achar, your home cooked dal, chawal, sabzi, papad, biryani, pulao, everything which is made in your house is a strict yes, yes.
That actually busts a lot of myths, Amita, for me, because I mean, a lot of dietitians tell you no achar, no papad,
Oh
absolutely
yeah.
no rice. So that's a big eye opener for me at this point.
Entire summer I've been after my clients opening that block that they have in their mind ki have achar, and my clients across the globe. So India to yes, but people living in Spain and Singapore, they have started making achar. And when you open a food group, it's not just about the nutrition, but your connect with that food. The first question that you started with, your role in well-being, that opens up, because one of my clients shared this story that her mother was shocked to see this, because all these while she was doing, just salads and stir fries. And now she's calling up and asking her mother ki, isko dhoop mein kitna din rakhna hota hai? How do I cover this? What masalas do I put? So it opens up conversation. It changes your palate. It changes the way you look at food.
Wow. So, you spoke about your client who was all her while, interested in doing stir fries and salads, etc. See, I've personally been in that space. 7 years ago, I started my twist with diets, and I experimented with, crash diets like GM diet. Yeah.
Yes.
And let me tell you, it's GM. So, by the way, for all of you, GM diet is a diet in which, one day you're eating only tomatoes, one day you're eating only bananas and milk. So, that's a very radical diet to follow. So, Amita, on the fourth or fifth day, I completely became numb. I couldn't understand what was happening around me. And I mean, I just lost my cognitive strength. So, what are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely, it does the same. So similarly, one of my clients have the same story. When she came to me, she in fact looks beautiful. She's got the body which everyone probably might be craving for, but still she was unhappy in it. So when she came, she's like, "Okay, I have this figure. I've not come here for weight loss or anything, but I want to just change my relationship with food because I've become so negative." She shared her experience while she was on a flight, and she was just snapping, and someone just the attendant just touched her asking if she needs food, and she just bursted upon her like, "Can't you see I'm sleeping?" And she just lost her control. And she's like, that was only because I was food deprived. I realized I hadn't eaten anything. I was doing a smoothie diet at that time. I had a smoothie in the afternoon. I was so deprived that I would just snap around on anyone and everyone. My relationship with people have gone on a toss. I've been very harsh on myself because every food that I see, I feel I'm gonna gain weight. That is constantly that, your mind is constantly working within that. Oh, this is gonna make me gain weight. I can't eat this. I can't eat this. This has carbs. This has fat. This has proteins. It just changes you as a person, and then you are that person who, when meets someone, आप ये नहीं बताओगे कि आप कौन है. Like most women, when they come to me, I ask, "Acha, fine, tell me something about yourself." They start with, "I am 26 and I am 59 kgs. Is that you? 26 and 59. You are more than that. That's not you. But you just bring yourself down to a number and a shape. It
Yeah.
changes personality that way. So food has got that power where it can really shape you as an individual. It can bring compassion. It can bring kindness. It can open conversations. Like how we are talking. The moment we spoke about achar, there was a smile on the face. This is what food has the power to do, rather than just carbs, proteins that we keep doing.
So what you're saying is, don't develop a negative relationship with food, because you are so much more than what your body looks like. And that really brings me to a lot of myths that people hold when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to nutrition. So today, like, we have a lot of different fad diets, and they have existed for a very long time. So what, according to you, are some of the biggest weight loss myths that people are holding on to?
Oh my God, I can write a book on this. But the biggest myth I feel is that rice makes you gain weight, ghee makes you gain weight, and you shouldn't be eating specifically these two foods. And top it all, you can't have kaju because it has cholesterol in it. So you can't have your desi nuts, but then you can definitely relish a granola bar. This is a kind of that people come with. Yeah, there's a lot, but mainly it's about rice and ghee. I don't know why have we devilized these two foods. So yes, and even
Rice is great, ghee is great, and
mango is also
nuts,
great.
which we all,
You just
crave
frown
on.
upon it that, oh, kaju is going to make me gain weight. But we don't think similarly when we are doing like a Greek yogurt or an avocado or a nut bar or a granola bar. We don't think similarly. But when I say have kaju, it will be like, acha, it has cholesterol. It can't have cholesterol. It's a plant-based food. Anything which is of a plant origin cannot have cholesterol. It's something which is manufactured in the liver. This is mainly because the food companies show you your normal nut and seed oils. They market it as cholesterol free. It can't have. It's just a marketing gimmick.
So, guys, are you listening? Eat your kaju, love your cashew nuts. That
Absolutely.
does not have cholesterol. Wow, that's very, very interesting. So, Amita, this is, super insightful. We have a lot of questions that people have asked, but before that, I want to actually play a little rapid fire with you.
Oh my
And
God.
it comes from a lot of questions that people have been holding on to. So we're going to
Okay.
be very quick with this. I'm going to throw you a question,
I'm anyway very quick with
and a very quick
speed. So normally also my husband says that you're always on a rapid fire, it seems. And I'm like, oh, so much to talk about.
super. So we're going to test that,
But
Amita.
yes, let's do this.
All right. Okay. So we start now. Worst things to eat this season.
The worst thing to eat this season,
Yeah, the worst things to eat this season.
everything which is packaged and processed. So if you're in the lockdown, that's not what you do right now.
No Maggie, guys. Listen, Sakina. No
Everything
Maggie.
which comes from a packet.
Okay, perfect. The best thing to eat this season.
Sorry, your voice. Can you please repeat?
Okay, so I'll say the best thing to eat this season.
Oh, it's just started raining. So the best thing to eat in this season is definitely your moong dal bhajia or your kanda bhaji, and also mango and jackfruit.
Did you really say bhaji?
Of course, yes, you need to now see during the entire summers, your appetite has gone a little low. Now, stepping from rainy and your winter season, your requirements are going to go up. If you don't cater that, you will be constantly walking like a zombie craving for things. So, definitely, you need small bites of these bhajis and these laddus to revamp your metabolism again.
You're my favorite
Jackfruit,
nutritionist in
mango.
the whole world, Amita. Okay, great. One mistake women make when it comes to eating.
Oh God. So women, again, firstly, the biggest mistake which a lot of grown-up women who cook make is they force feed. Like the last bite, they know they are full, and just to prevent throwing it in the dustbin, they throw it in themselves. You treat yourself. You constantly overdo this, and then you constantly eat bacha and basi, which you could have distributed in the entire house. So this is something to degrade yourself a lot. So that's one food mistake which a lot of women do.
Mummy, are you listening? Okay. Um, your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
It's ideally a way of life. It should be a way of life, but don't go crazy with it in terms of 14, 16, 18 hours. If you're taking intermittent as a way of life, it has to be a way of life like it used to be earlier. They used to be active, sleep on time, eat in that time frame, build more relationships, will talk rather than being on the social media. So take the whole concept rather than just taking ki I only eat in that 4 hour window. No, take the entire concept then.
Fantastic. And the worst advice you have heard somebody say about weight loss?
Stop eating rice.
Stop eating rice. Totally.
That's like left, right, and center. That's the advice everyone gives.
Fantastic. So great. I conclude the rapid fire. You've done so well. I should give you an award right now.
Oh my God, where's my hamper?
There you go. Okay.
Virtual.
So, Amita, thank you so much. Now, what we're going to do is we'll just take some questions that people have asked you.
Yes, definitely.
And these seem like really relevant questions. Everybody really wants to know what the answers for these are. So, the first question that has been asked by Preeti, she asked, what triggers food cravings? And are there, particular foods that we crave when we are stressed?
Okay, so Preeti, first of all, if you are craving, remember that it's a cry from your body asking for something. Now, this can be different in different people based on what you've been depriving yourself of. So, जिसका जितना ज़्यादा deprivation है, उतना that thing you'll crave. So, a lot of people, they remove fats from their diet completely, essential fats, and they constantly crave for cheesy things or fried things or having like a packet of chips. A lot of people just remove sugar from their diet and they crave sugar a lot then in unhealthy formats. Similarly, either if you've deprived yourself of good quality essential proteins, you will also be craving for a kanda fry or chicken. So for non-veg eating people, that's the craving you'll have constantly. So it's like a child I'll give an example. Hope this is relevant. It's like a child who's crying for a toy. A child asked for a Barbie doll. But then you tell ki, chal, nahi, we'll just watch a movie. The child will get distracted for 15 minutes. And then again, after 15 minutes, the child will start crying. Then you take him to the park. Again, the child will be distracted for 15 minutes. But then again, he will cry for the same toy. That's what you are doing with your cravings. Your craving is your body asking you for a particular nutrition, which probably is deprived of. So you gave it something, you just had some cookies, you had sugar, you had your pastry or a dessert, but again you will constantly keep feeling hungry. A lot of people, they feel midnight cravings is a thing, you feel, then you're like, I just had nuts and I just had a makhana, I just had a fruit, but that in itself is wrong. So when you are craving, of course the cravings are different to different people. First, to rectify if there is some shortcoming of a particular nutrient in your diet, because there definitely is. So stop depriving. If you like, I've stopped sugar, I've stopped oil in my food, try playing with these nutrients, because of course here it's very difficult to answer what particular deficiency you have. Include rather than deprive.
So that reminds me of this quote by Oscar Wilde. He says that the best way to get rid of a temptation is to yield to it.
Exactly. So you need to. And the best thing which works for a craving, I always tell my client, include a chikki or a laddu in a day, like a small bite. That in itself is a complete meal. Or like a ghee, gur and chapati, a gurtu poi, is a meal in itself if you are someone who has cravings. And also include the masalas in your diet. Just because you remove your masalas, normally a lot of sabzis demand for different masalas. You remove, because we've become a community or a population of stir fries now.
Yeah.
Your masala there, and then there will be a company who will sell you probably ginger shot or cassava shot or turmeric capsules and stuff. You could have added that in your dal or your sabzi.
Wow.
It knows to absorb it. So bring back your masalas in your diet. It will help you take care of these cravings. So if you have something who have a lot of cravings, go back to your that masala ka dabba, jisme hamesha 9 brackets hote the. Had this in our house. Bring it back to your kitchen.
Super. So Preeti, I hope your question was answered. The next one, I have a question from Vikrant. Vikrant asks, how do we really get over sugar addiction?
Okay, so if you are someone who's sugar addict, basically you are not including it in your whole diet. So you are the one जिसने चाय में शक्कर बंद कर दिया, and then who feels having sweet around 5 or 6 p.m. or post lunch you feel like having sweet. Now there's a difference between liking and craving. Liking is when I like a particular thing, when you like a rasgulla, you'll enjoy your rasgulla, but then you know कि वो कैसा होना चाहिए. You won't have it कहीं का भी कैसा भी. You know a particular taste it has. But when you are craving, that's the time जब कुछ भी चलता है. like that sadi hui mango ki goli or that do shakkar ka dana, anything works for you if you are a sugar addict. So if you are someone who has a lot of sugar craving, firstly include at least half teaspoon of shakkar in your chai or coffee. Don't have it planned. Secondly, include your traditional preparations of halwa, of laddu or a chikki in your diet. And don't do things like, one dark chocolate ka compound, because that I'm giving. No, include a wholesome source, because it's not just giving you sugar, but when you are including a chikki, wherein there is an essential fat, there is your vitamin and mineral. Whatever you gave to your body took a lot of it rather than just taking a glucose source. So if you are craving, make the traditional chikki. At least this season is also great for it. So your halwa or your chikki is something, again, you need to bring back.
So Vikrant, say yes to halwa, say yes to chikki.
And Vikrant, we're all waiting to see that picture of you uploading a picture of relishing a halwa with no guilt.
And please share it with us as well.
Yes.
Great. So the next question I have from Tasneem, she asks that, is it true that a vegan diet can contribute to a better emotional balance?
Is he or it's she? Tasneem, right? She. Okay. So Tasneem, yes, it is true that it can lead to a better emotional balance, provided that you've been doing it hamesha se. You can sustain it as a lifestyle. If you are a traditionally meat eating person, जिसने हमेशा से for a weekend who has cherished non-veg, it will lead more anxiety and deprivation in your case, because you've traditionally not eaten that way. So if you can sustain veganism as a lifestyle, great, do it. Because of course, food has energy. So if you are including more sattvic nature food, it will give you that energy. But if you are someone who eats non-veg, eat it in the traditional way like you've done, where we used to always do it once or twice a week. And these days it's all about, vegan cutlets, vegan chicken. I only eat chicken, or, keto diets, where you're doing the food for basically the nutrient. I am highlighting my protein levels, and that's why I'm doing chicken and eggs all day. That's not the healthy way of doing it. If that is something that you are doing, it will affect your emotional levels. But if you're enjoying your Sunday chicken curry and rice, which you can sustain for the entire life, that's how you do it. Anything, everything, I want only one word that you'll take from this session, guys, if you're watching. Anything which you can sustain for your entire life is what you need to follow. So any dietitian ka talk after this also you attain, always remember that they are giving you tips. If you can sustain it all your life, great. If not, it's not the thing for you. Start with it. See if you can sustain. If not, then drop it. Make it a point that ye hum भले एक महीना करे थोड़ा थोड़ा, but the next month I am one step ahead, rather than I lost 5 kgs with that diet and then again I gained back when I stopped. You shouldn't be stopping ideally. It should form a lifestyle.
So guys, absolutely no crash diet. Whatever you do, make it long term, as Amita rightly said. Super. So Amita, last question I have. Polumi asked this question, that what are the white foods that, other than rice, potato, bread, that we should avoid?
Oh my God. Firstly, Polumi, there's no color bias when it comes to food. I don't know why has the industry made it into a color game now. Earlier, it was mainly a nutrient fight. कि कभी fat high को बेचते थे, कभी they used to sell the high protein, or they'll sell the low carb. Those were the adjectives used. And now it's about a color that, okay, if it's in white color, no, it is unhealthy. If it is something which is not looking good, which is brown and black, it's great. So no, Polumi, there's nothing like this that if it's white, it's making you gain weight. The thing is, if it is processed, it makes you gain weight. So for example, rice is nice, but if it's had it in its traditional format where it is single pounded or hand pounded, when you process it, when you make it go through a process of leaching and bleaching, that is where it causes a problem. So that is something which is not nice. So don't follow a color, or again narrowing your approach or looking through only one prism. Ki ye white hai. Use your own logic. That no, in fact, white bread is great as compared to brown bread. Where they put brown sugar in it. So if you're having your once in a week bread, have it in the normal white bread. chalega rather than being fooled by the industry who sells it at a higher cost and as actually the same. Even your gluten-free biscuits and all, they all have got maida in it. You can't make it without it. Okay, there's a smaller portion, but your atta noodles, it has maida in it. Okay,
Oh, wow.
it's marketed like I can market a chalk as a calcium-rich meal, but of course you can't have it that way. So use your own logic behind it. That's not true at all. That's a myth again.
So, I mean, Amita, so what you said is don't look at diet or nutrition from one prism or one lens. It's a spectrum, right? And
Exactly.
diversity is what you're really recommending versus just, reverse racism with respect to your food.
I would like to add here is, see, when you talk about rice or potato or your bread, it's not the food which is bad. We like to eat it in unhealthier formats. Like your potato, it's a great addition to your aloo bhindi or your aloo bengan ki sabzi. Okay, don't deglamorize that poor little veggie. But you like having it in the way of a French fry. वो भी McDonald's वाला, घर में तो वैसी बनती नहीं है. So you like having it as sour cream and cheese potato. You like having it in the form of French fries. You like having it in the form of cheese, potato, corn, cutlets. So you picked the wrong option rather than, and then you blame that veggie. You didn't see what all are going in it. So that's the thing. You see what, use your common sense to see, is it really bad? Or I am making this person into a bad combination or that veggie into using it in a bad way.
So potato is not bad, guys. Don't blame the poor potato.
And couch potato. Like there are so many negative connotations attached with that word. So no. Potato is great in your sabzi.
Wow. So Amita, so Paulomi, I hope your question was answered and you will not hate potato, buy foods, etc. So Amita, this was a super informative session for me.
Thank you so much.
So much away from this. Thank you so much for being on Zen Talk. So guys, please follow Amita Mishra on Instagram. The details are underneath. Amita does a lot of one-on-one sessions. She does nutrition counseling. And, the talk, if you enjoyed this talk, she does this for a wider range of audience. And please reach out to us if you would like to know more from Amita. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sakina. It was a great vibe.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amita. Please keep doing the great work that you're doing for Corona warriors and people at large. Thank you so much for coming in again.
It's my pleasure. Lovely seeing you.